So I'd like to start off with a story about Julius Caesar. And I'm going to ask you to hang with me because I promise there is relevancy in this to business. But this story really goes or takes place when Caesar was up in Gaul, basically expanding the Roman Empire up there. And when he was doing that, he became really, really popular back in Rome. He was like the hero of the day, right? Because he was doing some great stuff. Everybody admired him, except the Roman Senate. In fact, far from admiring him, the Senate started getting really, really worried because this guy's like super popular. So what happens when a traditionally conservative group starts getting worried? They look to take the most defensive action they can. They look to be even more conservative. They listen to their fears and they take action based on their fears. So in this case, they sent a note out to Caesar and they said, hey, we want you to come back to Rome. Now, Caesar's no dummy. He knew exactly what this meant. It meant really one of two things. Number one, they were going to strip him of his powers, or two, and probably more likely, they were going to execute him. Because, that's how they rolled back in the Roman times. So any of you who think our politics are tough today, just keep that in mind. But the problem is you had a bunch of defensive, conservative-minded people going up against one of the most offensive-minded, bold-thinking individuals of that era. And so Caesar sent a simple response. He said, I am coming, and my army is with me. And that touched off a series of events which ultimately led to Caesar ruling Rome. And there's a lot that came out of that. In fact, our current calendar today is the direct result of the events that took place back then. But where the relevancy is to business is it gives a great example, is that for all of the stories that we hear and admire of bold business leaders, of people that take aggressive action, our companies and a lot of the people we know, and even to a large degree ourselves, are very conservative and defensive oriented. And my point today is that if you really want to be successful in business, in all things, especially in your career, you cannot be a conservative, defensive-minded individual. You have to always play offense. And if you sit back and think about it for a moment, this makes complete sense, right? Because think about the difference between offensive and defensive. When you're on the offense, you are dictating terms. You are driving your agenda. You are making progress. You are determining how things are going to happen. When you're in a defensive posture, you are, for the most part, reacting. Or you're trying to anticipate what's going to happen so you can react. You're completely at the mercy of what's going on from an offensive perspective. So, my whole point, if you forget everything else, if you don't take anything else away from any video I do, any other blogger, anything on the internet, I just want you to remember to always play offense. Now, since I've gone through that little diatribe, let me give you a little bit of background on myself. My name's Angelo Lombardo, and for the last 25 years, I have navigated a number of Fortune 500 companies, getting into positions of responsibilities and helping drive divisions, departments, groups, and all of this I'm talking to you has come from the observations I've made over that time. The individuals that are successful are the ones that are offensive-minded. So what I wanted to talk about today was how to adopt an offensive mindset and always be on the offensive. So there's a couple of things. Number one, and the most important, because without this, there's nothing else that can be done, is you need to take responsibility and realize that everything in your life, in your business, in your career, in your health, anything else you can think of is completely your responsibility. It has nothing to do with circumstances. It has nothing to do with your boss. It has nothing to do with your company. It has nothing to do with your spouse. Everything that happens to you is your responsibility. And at first you may push back on this, but I will tell you something. If you adopt this, I will make you a promise. It will be the most liberating thing you have ever done to yourself. Because once you accept full responsibility for everything in your life, there are no more excuses. You're now simply faced with a decision. You're either going to do something or not do something. So you lose your biggest customer, it's your responsibility. Your company reorganizes, it's your responsibility. Your health sucks, it's your responsibility. You have got to make a decision to do something about it. And once you do, here are the 3 things you can do that is always going to keep you in an offensive situation and more times than not going to drive things working out favorable to you. So, first and foremost, you got to determine what you want. Whether it is with your career or anything else, what is it that you really want? And I know it's easy to look back and say, well, no duh, right? But how many people do you know, or even departments you've been in, organizations, whatever it is, that don't have a real clear vision on where it is they want to go? And again, I go with people's careers. According to a Gallup poll in 2017, 85% of people around the world hate their job. But I would go back and say, how many of those people have a really clear career objective on what they want? So I'll tell you what, about 10 years ago, I was doing a field ride with a young junior executive. And this guy was in his mid-20s. And I asked him, I said, hey, what do you want out of your career? He said, well, in 5 years, I'm going to be doing your job. I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear this. And he knew exactly what skills he had to develop, what his next job had to be, who he had to work for, what experience he had to get in order to get into not only with the role I was doing at the time, but where he wanted to get to beyond that. So I will tell you that he did not hit his goal of getting to my role in the time frame he had indicated. He actually far out exceeded it. In fact, he's now several levels above me in the organization, and he made that progress in less than 10 years. He was very focused, again, knew exactly what he had to do, but most importantly, he had a plan. So whatever it is, number 1, determine what it is that you really want, and number 2, build the plan. Again, most people want things, but they're mostly like wishes because they don't have a plan. Build a plan on where you need to get to. What do you have to do? What do you have to learn? And here's a key one that doesn't get talked about a lot. What do you have to stop doing? You want to start a part-time business? Where's the time going to come from? Where's all the areas that you're wasting time, whether it be television, social media, anything like that, that you need to give up so that you can devote more time to doing what's important to you? So identify what you want and build your plan. And then number 3, critical, take action. And this is where being an offensive-minded individual really comes into play. Offensive-minded people take action. They take bold action. They take aggressive action. They don't just kind of dip their toe in the water. They go all in. I mean, when they are in, they are all in. And again, if you want to see people that are unhappy or what they would classify as unsuccessful or anything like that, you look, they probably have they have a lot of things they want to do, but how much of that have they taken action? And again, I'm not just saying tinkering around with it. How much have gone all in on that plan that they've developed? Okay? So determine what you want. Build your plan. Take aggressive action. If you do those things, I can promise you, you will have a more successful year than you've ever had. But more importantly, you're going to set yourself up for a tremendous amount of success going forward in your career, life, health, business, relationships, whatever it is. So, if you like this, great. I would love to continue hanging out with you. So do me a favor, press the subscription below. And while you're at it, go on over to my website, which is also below, www.angelolombardo.com, and subscribe. And I got a lot of cool freebies I like to give away from time to time. Right now I'm giving away a book of quotes. I like quotes. I got a book I developed, which are all these quotes I've collected over the years. So you can go and you get that for free. But I do other things throughout the year that'll benefit you. And I don't spam. I don't do any of those things. I just keep you informed when I'm posting or sending out information in the hopes that'll be helpful for you. So again, if you like this, let's stay connected. Everything I talk about is this concept of always playing offense. And what I'm going to do over the next several weeks, I'm actually going to be talking about how this relates to your career. And if you are in that 85% that is unhappy with where you are, I'm going to talk about how you can take these concepts, apply them to your career so that you can get that dream job that is out there. And let me tell you, I can promise you, everybody has their dream job. It's just a matter of going out and getting it. So hey, thanks for your time. I hope we connect, and I look forward to our next time together. Angelo Lombardo, and remember, always keep the faith and play offense.